Okay, so today is April 30th, 2026. I wanted you to think back to where you were as a person last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40, because I can do all of those. So my birthday was on Monday and I turned 47. And I had my students draw a picture of themselves and write out what they pictured themselves to be when they are 47. And it was a really interesting activity because they're only 14 or 15 years old because they're 8th grade. And I said, you need to claim what you want for when you're that age. So you draw a picture of yourself and you label what kind of person you want to be, your attributes. Put your name on your paper and then claim what you want. And I thought, boy, is that good advice for all people. We need to claim what we want in our lives. We need to claim and hold on to God's truths and promises. Because as I read 1 Samuel, and I see the correlation with 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, and Psalms, and I see that as he's going through all these struggles, he's begging, he's pleading with God, he's praising God, he's finding out how to do things differently next time. It's like reading his diary. And remember that God says that David is a man after his own heart. And so how David goes about things pleased God. It's not that he was pleased with his sins and when he erred, but it was that David kept coming back to God and repenting and seeing the error of his ways and trying to make things better. Still an imperfect person, because we're all imperfect. But David was anointed when he was young. He had nothing. Nobody thought anything of him. And then he had to fight. He had to flee. He had to pursue. He had to do all sorts of things to get to where God wanted him to be. I always wanted God to be that, to give me a promise and then just give it to me. It doesn't work like that. Would you truly appreciate what God gave you if you didn't have to fight for it? Would you truly be the person that could handle the responsibilities and the functions of where he wants you to be if you didn't go through those tough times and meet the people that maybe you didn't think you'd ever have to meet? Because it makes you wiser, stronger, more organized, able to handle different situations, different types of people. And then if God anointed David, and then he was reminded over and over and over and over again that he was going to be king, and he still had to fight and run for his life, where he's like, maybe God didn't choose me as king. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe I'm going to die today. I don't get it. This doesn't make any sense. But he refused to back down from his convictions, his belief that you are not to touch God's anointed. So he held on to his convictions regardless of what was going on. And when you look through that, you see God is always faithful. God always protects and provides and gives. So maybe we need to spend less time focusing on our troubles and what God has promised for us. That's such a different mindset, because that's so filled with hope. I'm so afraid to hold on to hope, because what if I don't get it? And then I'm, embarrassed? I don't know. It's so weird. But by holding on to something that God has promised me. It's such a risk for me, I don't understand. But I'm going to try really, really hard to hold on to those promises that he gave me, that he spoke directly to me and confirmed over and over and over again in my heart, in his word, through people, even though they don't look like they'll ever come to fruition. And right now my situation doesn't look like they will ever happen. If God cannot lie, that means that his word is true and whatever he says will happen. So my encouragement today is to claim what you want and then hold on and start reaching and striving for what it is that you want God to provide for you. God's not just going to hand it to you most of the time. You're going to have to work for it, and you're going to have to work through situations to get to it. Before I go, I want you to think about King David's son Solomon. King David fought his whole life to hold on to what God promised him. Solomon never had to fight. He never had to do any of that. He was not half the king that David was and could not appreciate what God had given to him, not like David did. His relationship with God was not half as personal. So we truly need to have the David moments, the scares, the persecution, where we're fleeing, where we're truly afraid for our lives, in order to have that close relationship with God. So thank you, God, for all the times that I was desperate, that I was hungry for you, that I just needed you to come in right then and there to change the situation. Because if I wouldn't have had those situations, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't be half as thankful. I see my big old wrinkles on the side, and those are from years, experiences, situations. A lot of them I didn't want, but they built something inside of me that you can't get by not going through things. So my encouragement, hold on, claim it, and be truly grateful.